Hello, my name is Sean Selman, and I am a student in National University's SEL Master's Program. Today, I am going to be doing a presentation about adult children of alcoholics and the trauma that they experience throughout life. I'm going to begin my presentation by giving you a personal story. As an adult child of an alcoholic, I grew up with two parents who were alcoholics, my mom and my dad. When I was 3, my mom went into rehab to um, quit drinking so that she could be able to take care of my brother and I. My dad, on the other hand, continued to drink up until he passed away in 2011. Throughout my time growing up, there was a lot of domestic violence in my home, as well as substance abuse, um, not only with my father, but also my aunts and my uncles who also lived with me, with my cousins. We spent a lot of time experiencing inconsistencies, but my mom did her best to try to keep things as consistent as possible within our home. It wasn't until maybe last year that I realized that there was an impact of all of the things that occurred while I was younger, um, in in relation to my dad's alcoholism and also being around um, what was happening with my aunts and my uncles, and them leaving my cousins and my mom having to raise them. I didn't realize until I really looked into this research about adult children of alcoholics how much I was impacted by the choices of my dad and his drinking. But as we go through this journey, I want to take the time to inform you on what it means to be an adult child of an alcoholic, different things that people go through from childhood up through adulthood, as well as the journey to healing, because it doesn't have to be a lifelong situation as long as you want to correct and heal the trauma that you experienced. So please take a moment, take a deep breath, and let's begin this journey. Let me take a moment to introduce you to trauma in adult children of alcoholics. What exactly does it mean to be an adult child of an alcoholic? An adult child of an alcoholic is a person faced with many emotional challenges during their childhood who develops certain coping skills to survive, which needs to be unlearned as an adult. The purpose of this presentation is to explore the trauma associated with having an alcoholic parent and strategies for recovery. The National Association of Children of Alcoholics did a study, and there are over 11 million children in the United States under the age of 18 living in families with at least one alcoholic parent. About 76 million adults in this country have lived with or are currently living with a family history of alcoholism. U.S. children living with a parent or a caregiver with alcohol use disorder is more than 10% of U.S. children ages 17 and younger. What do you think the impact is on these children living with these adults? Alcoholism spreads to every aspect of familial life, affecting relationships, attitudes, finances, and child development. Ultimately, the whole family faces the repercussions of alcohol dependence due to an unsafe environment filled with disruptions, tensions, and dishonesty. As a child growing up in an environment like this, I remember a lot of the different layers to this. I remember the days where it seemed like things were great and things were going amazing. Everybody was getting along, and out of nowhere, if my dad had been drinking, things could just completely change. Um, Now that I think back, I realize that after listening to a lot of his personal stories, my dad too is an adult was too an adult child of of alcoholics. His parents also um, struggled with alcoholism, and it showed up for him in his adult life. He followed that trend, whereas I am making a choice not to follow with that same behavior, that same addiction. But a lot of times, um, I remember thinking back and seeing like how my mom's mood would change if my when my dad came home when he had been drinking, or how things were financially okay when my dad was not drinking because he was able to keep a job. But when he was drinking, he had struggles on his job or struggles keeping a job. And so it affected us. And it was really hard, especially because my mom was raising my cousins. And so that extra income was definitely necessary. But due to my dad's struggle, um, there was an impact on our family. There are many trauma symptoms that adult children of alcoholics display. I'm going to go over about 5 of the many symptoms that are displayed. The first symptom is hypervigilance. Adult children of alcoholics often stay alert to potential dangers in family, work, and relationships as a coping mechanism stemming from childhood shame and pain. Also, there is a need for control. Adult children of alcoholics may develop an intense need to control their behavior and the behavior of others due to a lack of control in their upbringing, which can strain intimate relationships. Children of alcoholics often face challenges such as difficulty with emotions. They learn to hide negative emotions and may struggle to express positive feelings. Low self esteem. Adult children of alcoholics typically feel uncomfortable with praise and are sensitive to criticism. Last, health issues. Trauma leads to poor self care, isolation, and higher risk of physical and mental health issues. These are just a few of the many trauma symptoms in adult children of alcoholics. As stated before, adult children of alcoholics may struggle with the need of control, which also has an impact on the relationships. As many struggle with trust, intimacy, and communication in relationships, long-term effects can include higher levels of anxiety, depression, and other mental health issues, as well as difficulties with forming healthy relationships and engaging in positive behaviors. This is part of um, what this is part of the impact of being a child of an alcoholic, as well as um, a few coping mechanisms that adult children of alcoholics may display. Some strategies for healing and some self-care ideas that adult children of alcoholics can use are individual therapy, group therapy, taking time to recognize their coping mechanisms, facing their past head on, journaling, therapy, and sometimes medication, deep breathing, exercise, physical activity. All of these things can help um, in the healing process um, adults, of adult children of alcoholics. It's suggested that you look into getting help if you feel like your life is being affected by your upbringing or by the different traumas that you experienced growing up.